Today on CityCast Denver, we're digging into two major mysteries vexing the mile-high city with one of our favorite returning guests. First, how are Denver voters supposed to pick between the 17 candidates running for mayor? Many will decide based on concerns over housing and homelessness. And second, for some more important, who is inside the Rocky costume at Nuggets games right now? Because they're missing a lot of half-court shots. Today is Friday, February 24th, 2023. I'm Paul Caroli, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where 54% of homeowners have a fireplace. 54%.
Huh. That's cool.
That's awesome. Fireplaces are super cool.
Do you have one,
They
Connor?
sure are.
No.
Neither do I.
I wish.
I know. So do I.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous now. 54% of you.
I got one. It's great.
Yeah, you do. Of course you do, Paul. Paul's got his nice palatial ranch home in my childhood neighborhood, and you got a fireplace.
Yeah.
We had like the down model house from yours. We didn't have a fireplace.
It's pretty nice this time of year.
I bet.
It's pretty nice. Anyway, that's according to bestplaces.net, which just published a list of cities ranked by the Danish concept of Hua.
Huge?
Heige?
Huga? You know this.
Hage?
Connor,
Heige?
what is
like,
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very much like in line with the fireplace theme. It's like comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Means comfort.
You know which one's number one? Any guesses?
Which city or which
Yeah.
state?
Which American city is the number one city for
Minneapolis?
Huga?
Yeah, it was like somewhere in the Midwest.
Minneapolis is number 3. Seattle's number 1.
Seattle.
Oh, really?
I was just going to say the Pacific Northwest,
They're
maybe?
number 1 for reading books and for
Because it rains all the time.
cafes
You
and
can't-
coffee houses.
You just got to read inside. Yeah, and you got to be in the cafe.
It's essential. Anyway, you've heard their voices. I'll introduce them right now. Our regular host, Bree, is here. Bree, are you feeling cozy this winter?
Paul, you know I just came back from somewhere where the temperature was 70 degrees every day.
Yeah. How you feel about
Not feeling cozy. Got off the plane freezing.
it? Freezing? Upset?
Been freezing. Froze my way all the way to Our Lady of Mount Carmel last night for Ash Wednesday Mass, and Father Franceschi let us out early because he knew how cold it was. So, no, I'm not feeling cozy.
And back with us is one of our favorite guests for something of a bittersweet occasion that we'll talk about, I think, a little later on. He reports on housing and homelessness for Westward. He's also covering the mayor's race. Welcome back, Connor McCormick Kavanaugh.
Thanks for having me. So Hawaii, where you were, that's my friend told me the other day, it's the one state in the U.S. that's never hit 100 degrees.
It's perfect there. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't ever get too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
Like even when it was like rainy when we were there and then there was like really high winds. Here in Denver, when it rains, you're like freezing most of the time, unless it's like those midsummer randomly. But usually rain hits, you're cold. We got rained on and it was like, it didn't matter.
You can swim
Yeah.
in the rain. Yeah, it's fun.
That's amazing. So
Anyway, Connor, we wanted to have you back today for a few reasons, but one is to say goodbye.
oh.
Yeah, so I'm departing Denver soon. It's bittersweet. My fiance Farah is doing her internal medicine residency at a hospital in upstate New York, so I'm going to be moving there in the next couple days. But yeah, I mean, very sad to leave Denver. It's a great place, great people. I have a lot of awesome friends here, and yeah, I just think it's a really special place. And I hope it's not goodbye forever. I hope it'd be cool to move back here in the future or stay kind of connected in different ways.
Yeah. Well, Connor, we're going to have, I think, one more excuse to reach out to you. So maybe we'll check in on the coziness of upstate New York.
Perfect.
Which I'm looking forward to. I think that's a really fun idea we're going to do. But today, we're looking back at all the local stories that mattered this week. And I think the biggest one was the mayor's race, and specifically housing, because we knew it was going to be a big issue, but this was the week where housing really came to the forefront, at least from my perspective. So if you haven't been paying attention to the mayor's race thus far, it's interesting this year because we have 17 candidates. Election day is April 4th, and if no one wins 50% of the vote, the top 2 of those 17 will go to a runoff that's then settled in June. But Connor, this is your beat. You're covering the race. You're covering housing and homelessness. Tell me big picture. What's the shape of the housing conversation in the race so far?
I think what's great about coverage of the mayor's race so far and the debates has been that we're seeing very unique ideas on housing and homelessness. So an example, someone like Mike Johnston, he is very much of we got to get more developers building housing and increase supply. It's kind of the basic, supply and demand. There's a lot of demand, but the supply is lagging behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's someone like Lisa Calderon, who is much more about social housing. So government getting more involved in building housing. Yeah, there are pros and cons to both aspects. Maybe the next mayor will want to mix both aspects, but we're seeing very unique ideas. So voters will get a chance to choose someone. It's not all the same candidate running.
Bree, I know you spoke with Mike Johnston earlier this week. He's the former state senator, former gubernatorial candidate, senator candidate. You talked to him about housing. That interview is going to run this weekend. What are your impressions? Give us a little tease.
He had some interesting ideas. I think if you would have asked Denver 10 years ago, or candidates running for mayor, if they would support tiny homes, I don't think they would have. I remember what a struggle it was for the first tiny home village. So I thought it was interesting. It's something that he is really keen on, this idea of keeping community together. So like not just building a house and putting one person in it, but finding ways to build community through that. I think the thing that has really been a hard issue for the candidates is the sort of binary that the camping ban presents. And like folks that have listened to this show for a while know that I'm an advocate for repealing the camping ban. And I know that Johnston's getting hammered on that a little bit because I did ask him that. I'm like, would you repeal it? And he basically said he would revisit it. And you can hear more of that interview this weekend. So it wasn't a definite, but I know there have been some moments in these debates where it's like, would you, yes or no, like black or white, would you or would you not? And while I believe it is an inhumane policy, I can see where it can really trip up some of these candidates when I don't know how to say it, but it's been an interesting pain point to watch candidates navigate who maybe do have really radical housing ideas, but when it gets down to the camping ban thing, they're still willing to enforce it. And it's complicated.
Yeah.
So he had some interesting ideas. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think the camping ban is a really interesting bellwether in this race
Yeah.
because what Mayor Hancock has done for 10 years with the camping ban is he's used it to justify these sweeps of unhoused folks on our streets. Right. But he hasn't really matched it with the level of ambition required to house those people. He hasn't given those people a place to go.
It's the move along to where conundrum that unhoused advocates have been shouting from the rooftops about is, you want us to move, where do we go?
Yeah.
And so are these candidates offering us ideas that are legitimate and buildable and could happen in their first term in office? Could you have somewhere for folks to go? That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the real question is like, camping ban, yes or no, but like what else? Like what's the plan behind that?
Right.
But another aspect of this that I think is really fascinating is just the attitudes of these candidates around this issue, because it's exposed a wide range of attitude, and like the tenor of the conversation, the perspectives have been so varied. And because Hancock has made this his signature policy, a lot of the criticisms around this have revolved around like, it's so harsh. It's just mean. It just feels mean-spirited to move people around and not give them an option. Connor, how do you feel about the emotional aspects of this race and what the candidates are showing off? I
think some candidates are trying to not necessarily come across as mean-spirited, but to come across as tough on homelessness.
Which I think sometimes is like they're equating it to tough on crime. And those are not the same thing.
But that's the campaign they're trying to run, almost like, equating them, and then kind of trying to get that voter base that equates them to.
Yeah. I think that's an
Crime and
unfortunate
homelessness.
reality that we don't always talk about is folks that do support the camping ban and see it as a direct connection to our crime, the nebulous issue of crime.
Well, that's why I was talking with someone yesterday, and the person was, kind of laughing about the Chris Hansen commercial that came out recently, where it shows people experiencing homelessness next to tents on the street. It shows a porch pirate taking a package off someone's porch. Chris Hansen putting a Band-Aid on a Ring camera, saying how the city of Denver has been putting a Band-Aid on these problems. And he took some flack from other candidates on the debate stage who called him out, took some flack online. But I think also he is going to reach some voters with that message, even if it's maybe not in the best taste. He definitely will. Those people who are just fed up with tent encampments, fed up with crime, and equate the two.
Yeah. He equated the two in the ad. I mean,
For sure.
The criticisms were one that the ad showed mostly folks of color as these supposed issues or problems in the city. And I rightfully think he was called out for that. I think that says not only something about your candidate, but it says something about your campaign team. I don't know who's looking over your stuff, but it was bad. And then that equating the porch pirate to the encampment, those two are the same thing. And they're not. But you're right. That's going to reach some voters.
Yeah. For some people, it feels like the same problem.
Yes.
Well, that's another interview we got running this weekend. Chris Hansen, I talked to him the day after that 9 News debate. He was still pretty fired up about the criticism he got. So we had an interesting conversation about all this. I hope people listen to that. Kwame Spearman. He is a small business owner. He has tried to engage on this issue with mixed results. Connor, what's your take on how Kwame has talked about housing and homelessness?
When I was watching the debate that was hosted by 9 News last week, I was sitting with I had a friend in town visiting, and so he was just watching it with me. Didn't know much about it, and I was kind of commentating out loud. And when Kwame started talking about the Denver Homeless Out Loud study, and he cited those numbers, I was like, "What the heck is this guy talking about? There's no way that's accurate." And so he kind of miscited or misinterpreted those numbers from a Denver Homeless Out Loud study that he used to make a point about essentially saying that, if I remember correctly, that a lot of the homeless people living in Denver aren't interested in moving into housing. And he kind of jumbled things together, and it was an inaccurate point, and he got called out for it on stage. He got called out for it after. He eventually said, my bad. After the debate, he said, yeah, I got it wrong. But I think it kind of encapsulates what lane he's going for. He's going for that tough on homelessness, tough on people living out on the streets lane.
Without just saying it outright in the same way that Hansen or that guy.
No, I think he is saying it now.
Okay.
He's been pretty explicit in his interview with Kyle Clark on 9 News this week. He said people experiencing homelessness are exploiting the system. Exploiting.
Didn't he say
That's a lot.
Ruthless pragmatism?
I'm not sure.
I think so in the Kyle Clark interview.
But
Ruthless
that's how he describes his own approach.
Yeah. Ruthless is that's a choice of a word.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd use that word no matter what.
I mean, that brings me back to the attitude thing, the niceness, the meanness. What is going to resonate with people? How do the people of Denver, how do voters feel about this problem? I think that's what we're going to learn by this election, because the plans are all so detailed and I don't know if anyone's going to be reading Mike Johnston's 6-page plan with multiple points about how he's going to spend all the state money on, blah, blah, blah. But they're going to know if he sounds nice or if he
sounds like what you believe.
Ruthless.
I mean, I don't know. I think I thought Ian Tafoya did a great job on the 9 News debate in this particular arena. Or this conversation about unhoused folks, because he has the work to back it up. His plans are rooted in the work that he does every day. And that to me speaks to what you know, what you really know about unhoused folks' experience. Are you talking to people? Are you working with them? I know Lisa Calderon also worked directly with unhoused folks to create her plan. That says something to me. I mean, obviously we can see where I lean, but I don't know. I thought it was cool to see that in the debate, so that someone who's never heard of Ian or Lisa can see them up against the bigger names or the people that have more money, the Chris Hansons and Leslie Harrods. So I don't know. I appreciated that debate for that reason, because we got to really hear from folks. But I do think it's going to be a line in the sand. You're either on this side or you're on this side about the housing issue and unhoused folks. And if you want to lump crime in there, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you bring up Ian Tafoya. That leads me to another tease for the weekend's interview with Chris Hansen, because Ian Tafoya was one of the people who took a shot at Hansen in that 9 News debate. Hansen has something to say for Ian Tafoya this weekend.
That's fun.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Well, we'll obviously be talking about this a lot more as the election approaches. Ballots are going to go out in a couple of weeks here, and then Election Day, I mentioned, April 4th. For now, we're going to take a short break and be back with something else.
This episode is brought to you by the How to Buy a Home podcast. Literally, it's like at a standstill, to be honest with you. There's houses all over the city that have been sitting for months and months. Really good ones. It's confusing, though, because the interest rates or whatever. But that's why I keep recommending the How to Buy a Home podcast. Host David Sidoni has years of experience helping first-time homebuyers close on houses they thought were impossible, even as the housing market gets crazy. His How to Buy a Home podcast is a free resource that breaks down what you need to know to make home buying a reality. He answers questions like, do you really need to put 20% down? The answer is no. Most people only put down like 3.5%. David can guide you through the next steps that are right for you. He can even connect you with a great realtor right here in Denver that works with first-time homebuyers and actually cares about you. Start listening to the How to Buy a Home podcast today at howtobuyahome.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have questions, you can ask David directly at howtobuyahome.com. Visit howtobuyahome.com and make this the last year you rent.
And we're back. Denver sports is blessed with so many great mascots. Miles, the Bronco. Bernie, the St. Bernard. The Avs, of course. Bree, you're rolling your eyes already. You want to jump in?
Get to your favorite. Get to your favorite, because I have comments.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I mean, there's Rapid Man, the Rapids, Human Wave, Dinger, the Rockies Dino friend.
Human Wave?
It's like I don't even know.
He's just like a literal like water rapid.
Oh,
it's like a blue
very
skin
90s
suit.
to me.
It's so 90s.
He looks like almost like celery, but blue.
But there's one mascot, Connor, you've been following for years now because of a mystery that never did get solved. Or did it?
Rocky, the mountain lion.
Rocky the mountain lion.
Born in 1990 in the Rocky Mountains.
Tell us about Rocky.
So Rocky is he's the mascot for the Denver Nuggets, and he was born in 1990, and he's been the most successful mascot in the NBA. Just period.
He kills it.
He kills it. He's funny. He's clever.
Most successful? Like by what standard? How
just
are we?
Just by like legacy.
Okay.
Just by legacy. That whole all those articles that have come out about his salary being in the kind of
$625,000 a year.
Yeah. I've heard on good word that that's like totally bogus.
Yeah,
I've tried to track down the origins of that story. It seems like it came from like an obscure outlet that has no connection to Denver or basketball, that was written by a freelance writer for them, and maybe it's just good old fashioned making it up.
Fake news.
Not 100% sure, but yeah. So this guy's not getting paid, more than execs who run the Nuggets, but. He has an incredible legacy. He's funny, he's clever, and he's insanely acrobatic.
Yes. That's the wild part. It's like he's so comfortable. When you get way up in Ball Arena and it feels like you're in a seat that you're going to fall, he's like balancing on it. Like he has no fear. And think about it. He's like got no peripheral vision in that mask, I'm assuming. It just like blows my mind.
So what that's all about is that the guy who started as Rocky in 1990, Ken Solomon, he was a gymnast in college, and he was a mascot too. And so they did this audition where they put all of the people trying to become Rocky in gorilla suits. And so that way they weren't biased. They didn't know who was inside the suit. And he just blew them all away. He was incredible. And so he got it, kind of fresh out of college. And then he was Rocky. And
Wow.
he was incredible at it for decades, had kind of like adversarial relationships with some of the opposing players, some of the opposing fans, coaches, in a lighthearted type way. And became very famous for his backwards half-court shot, which he hit at a pretty incredible clip. Like he would hit one every game, pretty much. He's in the Mascot Hall of Fame, which is a thing.
Which is okay. I'm
Yeah.
flabbergasted.
And then so you think same old Rocky at these Nuggets games, but Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, the company that owns the Nuggets, they don't talk about their mascots. They don't talk about the person inside the suit. A couple of years ago, Ken Solomon was quietly replaced, essentially retired, by his real-life son, who was one of the in-between break dunkers that does a trampoline dunks for those performances in between quarters for the Nuggets. And he became the new Rocky.
How did you confirm this? Because I know that it was difficult. Like you said, Kroenke doesn't talk about it. How did you confirm that?
It was just kind of good sourcing, because Ken won't talk to me. He's declined to comment every time I've reached out to him. His whole family have declined to comment whenever I reach out to them. So. And yeah, Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, they're like, we won't talk about this. And now when I reach out to them, they don't respond all the time when I'm reaching out about Rocky. So
As you are wont to do.
They're just
Yes.
like, ugh, Connor again.
yeah, they're like, oh, this guy. But so what's cool is that this family, so we got the dad, he's OG Rocky. One son, he's replacement Rocky 2.0. We got another son who's the mascot for the Detroit Pistons.
Oh.
Hooper.
Okay.
And then we got a third son who is Rocky's minder
Yeah, I was
/
gonna say.
assistant.
Like watches.
Huh.
Yeah.
Goes
Because
around
someone's
with
got
the
to be
headset.
watching what you're doing.
Yeah, like keep, like little kids. Like when I did that little mascot stint for the Vibes, the Rocky Mountain Vibes in Colorado Springs, like kids come up and they just like punch you. She's like, "What's up, Toast?" And so the minder's like, "Hey, Toast doesn't like that."
Don't punch the mascot.
Well, and
Yeah.
people get aggressive. Like when I was at a Nuggets game. Oh gosh, who were they playing? The Clippers? I don't remember who they were playing, but Rocky found a fan in the crowd right by us who was wearing the opposing team's jersey and like was messing with him pretty heavily, sprayed him with silly string. This guy got pissed,
Oh.
dumped a beer on Rocky,
Oh
left,
my God.
came back.
That's amazing.
Rocky had given everyone around this guy silly string, so then he got sprayed again. And I thought it was going to be like fisticuffs. And then he gave him a Nuggets jersey and it was all good. But it was like, I could see where this could go sideways really easily, especially because people get pissy about their teams. And when you're in an auditor or you're in an arena full of people that are on the opposing team, you already know you're walking into trouble. But then when the mascot points you out, and this is all happening on
With
camera.
silly string,
Yeah.
I'd be pretty pissed. Like, yeah.
It
I
was
don't know.
wild. So I can see why he needs a handler. But on the topic of it being a secret, we were watching a Nuggets game the other day, and my husband goes, Scott Hastings, like the announcer, just said old Rocky. And then he corrected himself and was like, I mean Rocky. Like my husband caught him saying that there was an old Rocky.
Wow.
So
Well, those guys obviously are in the know,
Right,
because
right.
it's all part of the same ownership. But so here's the interesting thing is that so OG Rocky gets replaced by real life son Rocky. Real life son Rocky this season ends up on crutches.
oh no.
Not sure exactly what led up to it, but he's on the injured reserve.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to bring
Old Rocky.
OG Rocky back.
Oh.
And so, I
Maybe
mean,
it was
as
OG
as
Rocky
far as
was
like a
in
week
there.
ago, like he's the one in the suit now, OG Rocky. So OG Rocky, interestingly, he's been You could spot him before this whole injured reserve thing happened. You could spot him as an assistant to Rocky. So you have one son in Rocky suit, another son as his minder, and then you have OG Rocky as a normal human as another assistant.
So it's...
So you could tell it's him because he has a purple soul patch.
Okay.
So it's Ken.
So if there's a guy near Rocky that has a purple soul patch,
that's OG
that means
Rocky.
Rocky's in the suit.
Exactly. And so purple soul patch guy, Ken, he's been, when Rocky does the backwards half-court shot in the fourth quarter, he's been there on the half-court line kind of coaching him up like a dad would coach their kid, being like, all right, you got to get your elbow, like hold your elbow when you're shooting your foul shot. He was doing that because new Rocky struggled so much with the backwards
new
half-court
Rocky
shot.
has done bad with the backwards half-court
That's
shot.
been the biggest complaint about new Rocky, is that new Rocky cannot hit, and it's a tough shot, and Ken, the OG Rocky, he's just so good at it.
He just knows how to do it.
And so, if you've noticed, if you've been watching Nuggets games recently, the backwards half-court shot has been going in a lot more because it's Ken again.
Oh,
wow.
He's been draining
why it got
them.
better.
Wow.
Yeah,
Intrigue.
and you could tell, like, it's not just he hits them, but like every shot is close. Like he doesn't.
It's not way over. It's not airball territory.
Exactly. And
Also, he does it to my favorite LMFAO's Party Rock. It's great.
Oh yeah.
It's the whole thing is.
No, it's incredible, and you could tell the OG Rocky. You can kind of tell he's a veteran. He goes and he sits next to fans.
He knows how to work the crowd.
He knows how to work the
best crowd work.
He's like so energetic, never gets tired. So yeah, you can kind of tell that Ken's back in the suit.
Well,
Now I'm going to be watching now. That makes so much more sense.
I am feeling a little bit sad that
Why?
Ken doesn't have a chance to accept the accolades for himself.
I know, right?
Well, that's what I was thinking too about his son taking over. Like his son has grown up in the age of social media, and he can't tell anybody he does that. He's
It's
got
so
to
annoying.
out himself at some point.
It's so annoying because, I mean, if you're thinking, okay, I get it. Mascots, you don't want to talk about who's inside the suit. Like
It ruins it.
it ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like finding out that Santa isn't real.
Right.
Finding out that there's a human inside Dinger or a human inside Bernie. It's terrible. But this is such a good story that I feel like you should break the like mascot
the legacy
vow of
story?
secrecy. This is a layup of a public relations story for the Nuggets. Just tell the damn story. But
Sound
they
like
won't.
a reporter right now, Connor.
I know. No, they hold these secrets like closer than, I wrote a story recently about this, like who did aliens build the pyramids? They hold these secrets closer than that one.
Well, give us some advice. You're leaving town. We want to pick up the mantle. How do we stay on this? How do
On
we
the
keep
Rocky
the pressure up on Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, on who's in the
Call them.
Rocky suit?
Just keep bugging them. I feel like if people keep calling them and asking, maybe they'll eventually tell the story. And then also keep track of, check for Purple Soul Patch Guy and check for backwards half court shot. You'll know.
Okay, you'll be
Okay.
able to. I'm going to be paying attention.
We're
to
on
that.
it. I accept. We accept.
I'm down.
We're going to
I'm
do
down.
it.
But you know
Okay.
what's really cool is that Ken, he is getting his last dance, essentially. Because if the Nuggets win it all this year,
my
this is like
God.
their best chance
That would
ever.
be the perfect.
It'd be perfect. He could get
ending.
his last dance.
Which they're going to, even though critics will say that the Nuggets are a lost cause.
No,
They're doing amazing.
they're great.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we got to leave it there. We'll keep on Kroenke Sports and Entertainment about the Soul Patch and the Rocky situation. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to be back for some recommendations for your weekend. And it's time for the official CityCast Denver maybe for your weekend, as in maybe you'll see us there, because as usual, there are so many cool things happening in Denver this weekend, and we have opinions. Adrian Gonzalez rounds up his best bets in our newsletter, Hey Denver, every week, and he's here to give us his top picks. Adrian, welcome back to the show.
Hey, good morning, team.
Hi.
What's up,
Morning.
Connor?
So what do we got this week, Adrian?
All right, I got 4 events for us. The first one is a murder mystery dinner happening at the Fort.
Oh, cool.
Paul, I know you talked to
Ooh.
to Molly and Patty about the fort earlier last week.
Molly Martin, Patty Calhoun of Westward. Yep.
Yes. So this one, you get a 3-course meal for your ticket, a couple of cocktails, and then you get to participate in a murder mystery.
That's a good location for
You guys
that.
ever done a murder mystery?
I haven't, but I have to say the environment, it seems very immersive to do it at the fort.
Is it like Old West themed? Yeah, I agree. This is okay. This is a good one to start off with. It's very tempting.
So that one is happening 2 nights. Tickets are $100 per
Get a
couple.
3-course meal. And
3-course
drinks.
meal, cocktails.
100 per couple, so it's like $50 a person essentially.
Actually, I think it's 100 per person.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how they get.
Still,
it.
that's a good deal.
No, that's
though,
a good deal.
for the fort.
Yeah, you get a lot for that $100. So that one's going down tonight at the fort. Up next, we have the Mile High Skate Fest. We got any skating fans? Bree, you look like you've
Like
skated.
roller skating?
Like roller skating. Yeah.
Well,
dope.
as a person with an artificial hip, I will never be skating again, but I do love roller skating generally.
Is it like I would get to go and skate, or am I watching people who are good at skating do their thing?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, it's a distinction. It's at the Roller Dome, so it is an open skate. They do have classes, like you can sign up for free, get your skates, and learn how to skate if you're like me and are terrified of it. Even though I grew up in the '90s, I'm a disappointment to my '90s peeps. And yeah, so you could basically show up, have an open skate,
You can go
whatever comfort
skating,
level
Paul.
you're at.
Oh, I'm a excellent skater. I'm excellent.
Oh yeah, you
grew up on the ice.
I was gonna say Canadian hockey.
Out there showing people up, zipping around.
Okay,
Connor, how about you? You know how to skate?
No, I don't. But I like that movie. Was it a Disney movie that came out in the '90s about like the rollerblading crew? Do you remember that one?
What?
No,
Oh
which,
yeah, it was so good.
Brink.
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 Oh, of course.
Maybe Brinker?
Brink.
Brink.
Like on the
Yeah.
brink.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh
Brink.
my god, I want to
Yeah.
see this.
Oh, it's classic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen that.
Okay,
Right.
so the dream of the 90s is back.
Yeah,
for
that's
our option
happening-
number 2. Love
happening
that.
Saturday night, so tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Up next, we have Cupid's Undie Run.
Cupid's
Have you guys seen it?
Undie
It is
Run?
the nation's biggest pantless party, is what they call it,
Oh,
and it
my
is to
Lord.
raise funds. I know you're rolling your eyes.
No,
It sounds like very Denver.
They're
Is
gonna have
it-
a good cause to raise
Yeah, I
funds
know. I was
for.
gonna say.
Yes, they're actually. This is to raise
Buy
money.
some
So
Is
pants.
this a colon cancer one?
close is neurofibromatosis.
Oh,
if I'm
okay.
saying it correctly, which is a genetic disorder that causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body.
Oh boy. Okay.
And so you meet up at Stoney's downtown, just down the street from here.
Oh.
Have a drink, have a little dance, take off your pants, and then you do about a mile run.
Mile
It says
run.
a mile-ish. It's going to be cold too. This one's going down tomorrow. And then you come back after the mile and then dance some more and warm up and have some drinks.
Oh my gosh.
Raise some money.
That sounds cool. It sounds like a very particular audience for sure.
Yeah.
You want to run in the cold in your underwear. Might be your bag. Might be like the polar plunge people, you know? There's a select that's a very Colorado thing. I could see it. Not my bag.
Yeah.
Connor, we gonna see you at the Cupid's Undie Run? How are you feeling about that one?
I don't know. That sounds like not my favorite thing.
He's gonna be packing.
Your last night in town, you're at the okay.
Listen,
No, but
sorry, Farrah, I have to go.
Running. I'm not a fan of running.
Yeah,
oh,
I'm not
running
either.
is the problem.
Do
for
not
you.
like running.
Interesting.
Oh, Paul's a runner.
Yeah, the run would not be an issue for me.
I love running, but not without my pants. I might just call and see if I can donate money.
Yeah,
instead.
that's a good way to
and
go
skip
about
the
it.
whole
I like that.
run in the cold part.
All right, what's our last option, Adrian?
Last event, Sunday night, we have Connor. You guys were talking about I keep calling him Rocky. Is it Rocky?
Rocky.
I, it's,
The mascot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I get Rocky and Dinger confused. But anyway, we have to go see the Nuggets. The Clippers are in town on Sunday.
Clippers. Great game.
The Clippers, I believe, are in 4th place.
Who just
so
went to the Clippers?
Russell Westbrook.
That's right.
yes,
Brody.
Okay. Be
Big
interesting.
big fan of Russ.
so go watch
Good
Rocky.
game.
Watch the Nuggets.
Man, that's
It's
really
not-
tough.
I mean, we just talked about Ken Solomon and his legacy. And
no, I would really love to go to that game.
And interestingly, the guy who just signed with the Nuggets, Reggie Jackson.
Oh, I love Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, he came from the Clippers, and he's from Colorado Springs.
I know.
Oh.
I just learned that
Hey,
too.
cool.
He's an army brat, but I think he came here when he was 9.
Yeah, like he went to I think middle school and high school in Colorado
Yeah.
Springs.
I want to interview him. I love him.
Yeah, you should.
that'd be fun.
He
That'd
wears
be fun.
glasses on the court.
Oh, so cool.
He looks so cool.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's what I'm going
That's
with. I got to
four
see Reggie Jackson for the first time.
the fort, the murder mystery at the fort, that's the other one that's tempting to me.
It is tempting, but after all this Rocky talk, I want to go and investigate. I want to check for signs.
Connor, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd go to this. If I wasn't leaving on the Sunday morning, I would for sure go.
I'm intrigued. The mystery of the Rocky suit is more intriguing than the mystery of the fort for me.
That's
right
the
now.
real mystery. Can you bring binoculars into Ball Arena?
Yeah,
Because I'm going to be looking for that purple
not.
streak.
Yeah, I think you can.
I've thought about it.
Yeah. Feels creepy. But yeah, I thought about it. But
Yeah,
I brought a telescope once.
No, I just couldn't find my binoculars the one time I was gonna go.
That's a good idea.
Well, sounds like the Nuggets. We're
Let's
doing
do it. Nuggets versus Clippers.
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson in Denver now. I love it.
And there you have it, the official CityCast Denver maybe for your weekend. But there's way more where that came from. Adrian's got plenty more recommendations in our newsletter, Hey Denver, which you can subscribe to right now by texting Denver to 66866. Adrian, Bree, Connor, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
And that's all for the week here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were me, Paul Caroli, Aaron O'Toole, and JD Lopez. Adrian Gonzalez writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. Bree Davies is our host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Twitter at CityCast Denver, and tell Ken Solomon about us the next time you see him. You can sign up for that daily newsletter, Hey Denver, by texting Denver to 66866 and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.